And we continue to crisscross the country for you to get what the country's expectations are for the State of the Nation address. Now let's take you to the Free State. We are joined by our reporter Makgala Masiteng, who's watching developments there. So Makgala, what are the people in the province of the Free State saying?
Well, Mxolisi, as you've indicated, there are high expectations when it comes to that State of the Nation address. And we here in the Free State is one of the provinces that have been affected by the foot and mouth disease outbreaks. And coming from the agricultural sector, the concern has really been how this problem or this crisis is being addressed. We have seen that up to date, there has been a record of 291 cases here in the province. Of course, farmers keep reporting other cases that needs to be confirmed. But I'm standing here with the manager of the Free State Agriculture, and actually it is one of the organizations that really have written to the minister or raised a concern rather in terms of the process around the vaccination accessibility that other organizations or other private sector can be able to also help in addressing this. But I'm going to bring him on to talk us about some of these challenges, Jack Armour. We know that the sector is really faced with challenges year in, year out. But at this moment, what is at the center is the foot and mouth disease outbreak.
Thanks, Makgala. Yes, I hope that the State of the Nation address, the President will actually admit or raise the urgency of this foot and mouth disease crisis or possibly even disaster in this country. So that's one of our expectations, is that the urgency of the foot and mouth disease will be raised by the President. We've heard a lot from the Minister of Agriculture, but we haven't heard the President say anything yet. So I think this is his first opportunity to really say something publicly about it. The big crisis is the access to the vaccines coming into the country. We ran out of vaccine middle of December. We haven't been able to vaccine since. You mentioned 191 cases in the Free State that are positive cases. That's not just individual cows, that's farms, whole farms with all the cows on that farm that are infected. And then around those farms is another 10-kilometer buffer zone that's been quarantined. So all those farmers within that quarantine zone and where the animals are infected cannot move their animals. They cannot sell their animals. So it has an economic consequences, so especially in dairies where the animals actually are really suffering and have to be put out eventually. That is really bad suffering. But on commercial farms, the animals do suffer, they get sick. But the big economic cost is actually the animals that can't be sold, that can't be taken to market, and the calf system of raising calves and stuff, and then getting them to the feed systems, that's broken. So we need vaccination urgently to start be able to vaccine, so that the production system, with the seasons, the farmers need to keep their production system going, to keep their economic livelihood going. So the urgency is for vaccines to come into this country. We fully understand that the right vaccine has to come into the country. So the role of government is to make sure that the right vaccines are procured, and those vaccines are available. They're sitting on our borders waiting to come into South Africa, but the paperwork in South Africa is taking very long to get signed off. So that's one of our matters of urgency that we hope that the President addresses in his government programs of action, is to get all the departments that are involved in bringing in the vaccine, in approving the different vaccine manufacturers to approve them, to get them in. The local vaccine manufacturing capacity to support that with the staff and the finances that are needed. The labs that need to confirm the suspected cases. There's a massive backlog of over 2 weeks at these labs. Now, from when a case is suspected till when it's confirmed positive, that 2 weeks is creating unnecessary movement of cattle. So the police department is another very important department to bring on board to control the movement of cattle once a quarantine has been imposed. At the moment, that's not imposed. So we really hope that the President in his program of action clearly highlights the different role players, the urgency of the matter, and how to address this matter.
Thank you very much. That is Jack Armour from Free State Agriculture, really touching on some of their expectations and their concerns with regards to the foot and mouth disease outbreak that has really hurt the agricultural sector in this year and coming, of course, since these cases have been reported even since last year. But some of those provinces being KZN, that is really has been in an epicenter, but even in the Free State, now numbers standing at 291, and the plea from the agricultural sector is that this is declared a disaster, and also the issues of fast-tracking the accessibility to vaccines is also some of the issues that they are raising from the agricultural sector, and also noting that this does not only affect the agricultural sector, in fact it goes beyond affecting the trade, the job opportunities within the agricultural sector, as well as the economy policy.
Makgala Masiteng is our reporter watching developments out of the Free State for us this hour. Thanks so much for that update.